Right, the first version of the first sample of the second version of the backpack, the second iteration, is in front of me right here. And it is not what I expected whatsoever. So there's a lot to discuss. I'm going to unpack it. And I think just to give a bit of context, I think it's best to sort of explain, like, why did I do this straight away? Like, why did I immediately jump from launching the V1 bag in February, fulfilling those first batch of orders with the Kickstarter orders, and then immediately thinking like, okay, I feel like there's a few small changes I can make that will make a massive difference, therefore I'm just gonna go straight in and do it. So I think the biggest thing I'd sort of say, when I launched V1, my primary focus was to make it as lightweight as possible, because I hated how heavy, like, just everyday travel bags are. Like, they don't need to be heavy. Like, you can just pack up and just take, you know, everything on your back in front of you, go to wherever you're going. You don't need like such a heavy pack. It doesn't need to be like military level protection and all this kind of stuff, right? So I had that belief. I still have that belief. You know, that was a big design language of the first version of the bag. The shortfalls, I would say, is from doing that, when the bag was fully packed out, you can see the stress on the bag, right? So like, it's not that any bags broke and it's not that any bags will break. It's more that question of like, okay, over a 5, 10, 15, 20-year time span, how long will the bag last? And fundamentally, I believe in buy it once for life. Like, I want to create a high quality product that you can buy, you can have, you can use, and you're not thinking it's gonna break. Obviously, it can, right? If you're putting 10 plus kilograms into a bag, it can get stressed and the seams can give out. But it's like the durability piece was like the biggest shortfall, I would say, I found on version 1. But what I did to address that is every single batch I've been working on with my supplier, I've been making slight improvements structurally. The design is exactly the same. Nothing's changed from a design point of view. It's just adding in, like, we added an extra like stitching line around the bag. We use like thin webbing, which is stronger than the ribbon that was used to hold the stitching in place. We've now, on the most recent batch, done like an extra box stitch to strengthen the straps and the top carry handle. So like, as I'm going on with V1, I'm improving it structurally. And that's not to mention as well, like, I've been using the pre-production model. I don't want this to come across like if you back the Kickstarter, it's like, oh, but then does that mean I got the least strong version? No, it's more a case of like, that version was fine. I've been using that version without any issue. It's that I just want to future-proof any kind of potential issues. Ultimately, I want to just improve the bag. I just want to keep making it better and better. And it goes without saying, if there was anyone that backed the Kickstarter, and if there's any issue with your V1 bag, tell me and I'll replace it. Like, it's not a case of, oh no, you didn't get the batch with the extra box stitch. Like, it's honestly, I've been using the pre-production model, which was like 705 grams, and it's perfectly fine. Anyway, the reason I'm sharing all of this is because I want you to sort of like be with me on this journey, right? I wouldn't be able to be filming this or doing any of this if it wasn't for your support. But yeah, I'm just conscious how it might come across to those who back the bag at the Kickstarter and from there on. And yeah, like, if anything happened to the bag, I'd replace it. But like, yeah, I just want to transparently share the struggles I've had to face with the first version of the bag, which is what really made me want to just do version 2 as soon as possible, use stronger materials, still keep it as lightweight as possible. I delusionally thought I can make, well, I basically researched the most lightweight, strongest materials that exist on planet Earth. And ended up with this, which ironically is not as lightweight as version 1 by any means. It's actually double the weight, which we'll get onto. But yeah, so just to provide that context in terms of what made me want to do this as soon as possible and just get going with it as soon as possible, was like, I wanted to address the durability element of version 1. So I thought I could essentially do that whilst making a few minor changes that I thought would work, which didn't. Which we'll get onto. But yeah, I just thought I'd make a few changes, use stronger materials. It would have to be slightly more expensive because I'm using slightly more premium materials. I mean, I've now figured out like it would be drastically more expensive. But anyway, I'm learning as I go. I'm doing my best. I feel like if you've spoken with me via email or whatever, it's like I care so much. I'm just trying to make the best possible products I can for One Bag Travel. And yeah, on that note, let's sort of get into the bag. So starting off with the material. So I did a bunch of research on like what is the most lightweight, durable material that exists. Through all my research, I came across this material called UHMWPE. I'm going to pop up on the screen what it stands for just because it's like ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. I might have butchered that, but yeah, so it's essentially like a formation of plastic. I'm going to just put up the explanation just because, yeah, I feel like I researched it so hard a few months ago and it's like so much has happened. My brain's in a billion different places, but it's this like ultra high durable, like cut proof, just like a beast of a fabric, right? And it's still very lightweight. So this is the exterior here. This is 400 denier UHMWPE. It is 180 GSM, so it's 180 grams per square meter. For reference, version 1 is 280 denier nylon and it's 140 grams per square meter. So it's like a lot like more burly, but the actual grams per square meter is only an extra 40. This was like the first material where I was like, I want to use UHMWPE. Like it just looks like an absolute beast of a material. It can retain the lightweight element. And I just, as I say, I went down like countless hours and hours and hours of rabbit holes. And this was like, this is the material. Like, I was so bullish on UHMWPE. So much so that the interior of this sample is UHMWPE. I like managed to find this like one supplier who's able to make UHMWPE like stretch mesh. So like the mesh in the water bottle pocket is UHMWPE. The mesh inside the bag is UHMWPE. The thread is UHMWPE. The webbing is UHMWPE. Everything is UHMWPE. No, I'm joking, not everything, but yeah, like the webbing, the thread, the interior, exterior materials, all UHMWPE. And I thought like, this is gonna be an absolute beast. And I was right. But the issue with that is that it weighs 1.52 kilograms with nothing in it, which is the complete opposite of what I believe in. Like, I don't believe a bag needs to be 1.5 kilograms. Yeah, full stop. Like V1 launched on Kickstarter as 740 grams. And then as I said, with these like slight iterations I've done, it's taken it up now to around 855 grams, right? But even still, like if you hold this and you hold V1, massive, it's double the weight. Like it's a massive difference and it doesn't need to be that heavy. As I say, I've used V1 like so many times now and I've never once thought like, oh yeah, like if only it was stuff. It just doesn't need to be heavier. Like it's just, the bag itself doesn't need to be heavy. As I said earlier though, there is that delicate balance, right? Which is like, will this last 5, 10, 15, 20 years? You know, constantly putting in heavy loads. That is the balance of trying to balance weight and durability, right? But I'm trying to innovate and I'm trying to think outside the box that I can make, as I said, the most lightweight, most durable product for one bag travel. Moving on to the zippers, right? So again, I'm not gonna say it because it's for every single piece of this bag. I went down like countless hours of rabbit holes as to like, what is the best possible material I can use for every single element of this bag. And YKK, which are like one of, if not the most reputable zipper company out there, they launched around a year or two ago this zipper called Dynapel. And it won, you know, awards, and it's like a really innovative zipper where effectively the water repellent properties, right, are achieved without having to use a PU coating. So it's like got the same water repellent properties and they've tested it, but it doesn't have that AquaGuard finish. And the reason why I don't want to use AquaGuard zippers and PU coated zippers is it can peel over time. And I just don't like how that looks, one. And then the second reason is functionally, with the V1 bag, I actually tried an AquaGuard sample and they're just very like not stretchy. So like when the bag was fully packed out, there was no give. Whereas I was using the YKK horizontal stretch zippers, which add 5mm of elasticity each side. So when the bag's fully packed out, there's a bit of give and it's like so much nicer to use. So that's what put me off wanting to use AquaGuard zippers, but then equally you're sacrificing a degree of water repellency, right? So no zipper, or like I think it's like it has to be a super like strict construction if it's going to be like waterproof. I think I've seen some bags that it's like really difficult to achieve that, but you can achieve a high level of water repellency, and ultimately AquaGuard zippers are going to help with repelling water, right? Some water can still get through, it's a zipper, but it's a lot better. So when I saw Dynapel zippers, I was like, this is it, like I was so excited. And I was speaking to my YKK account manager, like I was like, this is so cool, like this is going to be amazing. So yeah, so got the YKK Dynapel zippers for the bag here. I've used them all over the bag, all over the exterior of the bag. The interior, I've gone for the same as version 1, which is the horizontal stretch zippers. And then the zipper sliders that are on the Dynapel is the DABLH. I might have misread that for anyone who's interested. But effectively, I wanted to use the revived slider collection from YKK, but unfortunately they only come in a size 3 and Dynapel is in a size 3 or a 5. But because the size of the zipper can also impact the strength of the zipper, I mean normally you'd prefer to use a size 8 if possible, right? So anyway, I didn't want to use a size 3, so I used the size 5. I couldn't use the revived zipper slider. The reason I liked it is from the sustainability element, where the revived collection, the whole concept is that if you want to replace the slider, you're able to do so a lot easier because you're able to like take it off easier. It still needs to be like repaired. It's a lot easier to repair the bag without having to take the whole zipper apart, was my understanding. So I really wanted to use that. Unfortunately, I couldn't get that to work with the Dynapel in the size 5. So I just used, there were like 2 options that were compatible that I saw with the Dynapel. So I've gone with these zipper sliders, and I didn't put any zipper pullers on the sliders. I would do that. I will plan to do that if I release a second version. Anyway, that wasn't a huge, like, I need to perfect the zipper slider puller. But I do plan to change that in some capacity, just because the Hyperlon zipper pulls that I used can sort of become a bit loose and fall off. I mean, it's rare that they fall off, but they can become a bit loose. So it's just, I think they look sick, but it's just figuring out, okay, is there a different option where they're not going to come loose? But anyway, so those are the zippers. Then, in terms of the front panel, I removed the vertical zipper pocket. So basically the thought process was, and this was before I launched the version 1, I like the idea of a horizontal zipper compartment at the front. It was just figuring out, and I couldn't, is getting the aesthetic correct. Like, it just didn't look cool. So my thought process was here, if I like make the divide internal so you can't see it externally, so it looks like one flush, you know, bag, but then like there's an internal stitch divider here, so you have a top front compartment and a bottom front 2 compartments. I don't think it looks all right. I mean, it looks all right. I mean, it's just, again, and I'll probably, this is like going to be like a running theme as I talk through this sample. Like, it made me realize how much I love V1, like even more. And it sort of relates to life, not to get all, it's just like the grass isn't always greener kind of thing. And it's like, I made all these changes thinking like, this is it, you know, like this is going to be the best bag, whatever. And it's like, actually, it's got so many add-ons that I don't need, I don't particularly like. And yeah, anyway, so combining that with the size, I made it like about 1/2 inch taller, about 1/2 inch wider, and like a few points of an inch deeper. So I think like 0.2 or 0.3. And I don't know, I just feel like the shape doesn't, let me grab V1 and I'm gonna show you side by side so you can visually see. I just don't feel like the shape, I don't know. It just like, I honestly got the sample and I'm just like, it doesn't really make me feel like I felt when I got that V1 sample, and I'm like, this is sick. Like, I just don't feel the same way. So yeah, so anyway, the size slightly increased. Dynapel zippers, 400 the exterior. Before I get into the side, the back, the inside, it's worth mentioning that there was a few things I tried, and what we were effectively doing with my supplier was, because these materials were not only super expensive, but super scarce. So like, that UHMWP stretch mesh that I used, it was like such a long back and forth of they don't have like the one I wanted to use. I had to like place a bulk order just to try out the material. Anyway, we went back and forth for so long because it's the whole UHMWPE. It's such a complicated material, but anyway, that aside, it was so precious to get in all of these individual materials to make this sample that we were basically making like mock-up trial samples with stock fabrics first to like check the design is what we wanted. So it's worth mentioning that some of the design choices here, which I'll talk about, aren't particularly like exactly what I wanted for V2, but it's like, okay, that didn't work. Okay, just, can we try do this? And it's like, okay, they didn't really get it, but it kind of reached the point where like every stock sample was another 2-3 weeks. And it was kind of reaching the point where like just, I kind of accepted, make the sample. If we need to make these small changes, then we'll do it kind of thing. Like I'll just buy another sample, or I'll just, I mean, at that point I was like, it's gonna be so good. I'm just gonna, I thought in my head I'll just place a bulk order for it, but I couldn't have been more wrong. But anyway, so yeah, so not everything here is exactly what I wanted it to be, but so that aside, so turning to the side here, so this is one example. I didn't want to have this side carry handle look the way it looked, or be in the position. I kind of thought it could be like a diagonal here, so you can kind of, I don't know, thought it'd look more cool. I didn't want it vertically like this, but we kind of reached the point where I was just like, yeah, let's just make the sample, and yeah, this is what I ended up with. So I wouldn't want this vertical. I added a second water bottle pocket, and I slightly changed the design where the 400D material is the pocket, and then there's like elastication in the middle to stretch out, which I do actually like. Looks pretty sick. And then I wanted to put like my logo like in a webbing, like black on black, and then you can actually use that like as a, you could put a carabiner on there and like attach things to it. I don't like how small it is. I don't want it printed, which is what was done. I want it like woven, like I want the actual jacquard webbing like woven in with my logo, and I want it longer. Anyway, that's just that was what I thought in my head. I don't like how that looked. I think it could look cool if I use like a longer webbing across here with like almond oak, but that's something I need to test. I did a bar tack on each side, so like that's what's keeping it together. And as I say, you can like loop something through here. Top carry handle, pretty much the same as V1, just use the UHMWPE. I feel like I'm gonna say that so many times this video. And yeah, it's a carry handle. It's nice. It's, as I say, it's literally pretty much the same as V1. Moving on to the other side, I added these two hooks here, which I don't love or hate. It's more like a lot of people wanted, they were like, I wish there was more things that I can attach to the bag, which I guess I understand in terms of I've also got carabiners and I've used carabiners. I'm just not a big carabiner guy. But I thought, okay, let me just add these two loops and see what they look like. And I suppose because I thought this would be cool to have my logo on this side, balancing it out with two like D loops made logical sense in my head. I don't love it or hate it. I think I prefer not to have them. Just, I think, again, going back to what I love about V1, not only about the lightweight element, but like not only about what it has, but also what it doesn't have. And I kind of like the just pure minimalism of V1. I think trying to add so much stuff with which I've realized not only increases the weight, but just kind of increases the like, what's going on here? Like, I just want pure simplicity. But anyway, that aside, this is, yeah, the thing I get so deep about these two D loops, but yeah, I'll consider it for V2. As I say, if I even launch a V2, which I'm going to get to at the end of the video, which I probably should have said at the start, but I might not even launch a V2 for a while, unless it makes logical sense. I'll get to that at the end, but let's just carry on getting through, because otherwise this video will be so long. So yeah, second water bottle pocket. So that's the side of the bag. Moving on to the back of the bag here. So I've added this hook, which does make sense. I mean, when I'm in a public restroom, I would put V1 on the hanger. I would use the top hanger. So like, I understand the logic of having this. I think it's like a simple add-on, which does add benefit. So I went for that, and I do like it. And then I've obviously changed to talk through everything. I was like, okay, in V1, I personally found the backpack straps completely fine. I think a running comment I saw was that they look thin, right? And it was 5mm EVA foam, which is standard for a 25-litre travel bag. But I suppose that comment of they look thin, then it was thinking like from a psychological perspective, okay, should they be a bit thicker? Like, what's the perfect balance of perfect thickness? Like, at what point do you reach like, okay, any additional thickness or padding won't make any difference to comfort, right? And I think that's like a lot of this is just like, do I need this? Like, is this actually necessary? Okay, might people then look at the bag and think, oh, it looks like it's got beefy backpack straps, therefore it must be well padded, therefore it must be comfortable. But like, do you need such thick straps? Anyway, there's a lot of psychological. Anyway, so I used this like microcellular TPU foam from this like really innovative company. It was like, I just, again, rabbit hole, hours and hours and hours, found this like fascinating company. They're like doing like incredibly like small micro perforations for breathability. I was like, I'm sold, let's do this, let's put it on the bag. The backpack padding is nice. I've loaded this up with like 10 kilograms worth of gear, felt completely fine. I've loaded up V1 with 10 kilograms worth of gear, also felt perfectly fine. Like, it's like, at what point are you just like, do I need this? Is this necessary? Because the padding was super expensive and super heavy as well. I might add, I should add. And I'm just like, what is the point? Is this really needed? But anyway, I also added load lifters from the perspective that a few comments I'd seen online was that people like load lifters are a deal breaker on a travel bag. And just a lot of people stressed the importance and no-brainer of load lifters. And I've never loaded a lift. I've never used a load lifting bag. And I packed, as I say, packed this out at 10 kilograms. I put on the load lifters. And I didn't really notice a difference. Not only did I not really notice a difference, but it's just like, okay, it's meant to more evenly distribute the bag. But then it's just like, and this sort of goes back to the entirety of trying to add so much and like kind of getting lost in terms of like, what is this? What is the Almond Oak travel backpack, right? It's a 25-litre expandable travel backpack that expands to 30 litres. That does not require load lifters. I mean, a 17-inch bag, it's small. Like, you don't need load lifters on that. Yeah, like, and I think that's also like almost raises the question of like, yes, it's a travel bag, but if we're typically speaking about travel bags being 35 to 40 litres, that's different to 25 litres. Do you see what I mean? So yes, I understand perhaps on a bigger bag you'd want load lifters and perhaps you might notice a difference, but this is a 25-litre bag. Like, I was just using it and I was like, why does this? Anyway, so I added load lifters. If I do version 2, if I release it, I wouldn't use load lifters. I just think it's unnecessary. I personally didn't see the point of, and it's not just I didn't see the point. It's like it's a 25-litre bag here. There's people that use version 1 for everyday carry, like it's just an everyday bag, because it's like you can take it in the office and you don't look like a traveler whatsoever. Like, what I love about version 1 is I will pack indefinitely. I could live just out of that bag and no one would have any idea. It just looks like a normal bag. It doesn't look big. It doesn't look like a tourist. It doesn't make you look like a traveler. You just look like a normal person. So anyway, I wouldn't use load lifters. I changed the magnetic strap. Previously it was Duraflex. This is a YKK one, exact same functionality, just used YKK, nothing more to that. And then the back panel is pretty much the same design as version 1, just thicker padding, which is the same as the backpack straps. Luggage pass-through sleeve, and then I just like changed the stitching in the way that it's done, like so, like just the stitching method. I felt like this looked a bit cleaner, but other than that, pretty much the same back panel. So yeah, that's that. And then strap keepers, and oh yeah, the actual sternum strap design I tried to change to like doing bar tacks on like each level, and then you slide this through, because then it kind of can't get out by mistake. That's the only thing, is like some people have lost the sternum strap, because on version 1 it can just slide off the rail, so like it's accidentally slid off and then they've lost the strap. Whereas this, you can't actually really, unless you consciously feed this through, which even still is pretty difficult, you can't just accidentally lose the strap. Yeah, I actually think this is a pretty good design. Like, I like this sternum strap. I don't even use my sternum strap on version 1. Again, going back to, it's a 25-litre bag. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a cool design, but yeah, I mean, it's cool. If I were to do V2, I would probably use this sternum strap design, because I think it is better at avoiding the strap accidentally falling off. But yeah, so that's everything on the outside of the bag. Oh, I haven't done oh yes, I'll do now the front 2 pockets. So we'll start there and then work our way back to the laptop compartment, and then yeah, we'll finish this off. Sorry, I feel like this is going to be a really long video, but needed. Okay, so front pocket. Let's start off with the top pocket. So there's 2 zippers here, 2 Dynapal zippers. Open they go, and in we go. So it's effectively a 9-inch deep pocket, and I'm going to take these out. It's a 9-inch deep, yeah, we'll talk about those later. It's a 9-inch deep pocket, and I've basically just gone for a simple design, a 7-inch wide zipper pocket. So like, just pop your stuff in there with the UHMWP stretch mesh, and then 2 pen holders and a key leash as well. So I've done that. Yeah, that made sense in my mind. Just have a horizontal pocket that you can stash your stuff in, and then you can have a key leash. A lot of people wanted a key leash. I don't use a key leash personally, but an overwhelming amount of people wanted a key leash. I don't think it's a massive ad. I can see the benefit to it. So I tried adding a key leash. I don't love how aesthetically this isn't like clean. So I obviously want to tidy this up, as far as like, I don't like how the pen holders end down here. The zipper starts here. The key leash is just kind of like nestled in the corner there. So yeah, aesthetically, I don't like how this looks, but functionally, this was what I went for. So yeah, so that's that. And if it helps, like, the thought process was, you can stash some headphones there, you can pop literally the same functionality that the V1 front 2 zippered mesh pockets have. Just pop whatever you need on the go, and there you go. So yeah, so then this lower pocket, I tried to also do horizontal. So what I actually thought, which I thought was genius, but I think functionally it's a bit, anyway, I thought it was genius when I tried it, which was having no external pocket for this lower part. I thought it would be so genius, because this is like, you know, cut proof. Then I thought the entrance to this lower pocket here could only be accessed internally through the bag. So it could be like this, like, indestructible, you know, hidden pocket, like the most hidden pocket that's ever existed, if there's competition for that. But I thought to myself, functionally, okay, let's say I'm staying at a hotel or whatever it might be, and I want to, you know, you want to put your stuff away in your room, and perhaps there's a safe, or like you don't know how to use it, or there's not a safe. And anyway, you just want to put your stuff somewhere safe. So I just liked the idea of having this kind of secret pocket that, like, it's only, you know, if you know kind of thing, that you just pop it, you know, pop your valuables in there. But then I realized, well, like, when you're not staying at a hotel and you don't have to do that, it's kind of just a wasted pocket. So I thought, okay, let me just see, what can I potentially do? I wanted to keep this like flush. I didn't really want some kind of, I don't know, the front panel is like, I've honestly wrestled so hard, like, over the past almost 2 years now. In fact, probably 2 years since, a long time. Yeah, a long time, of like the aesthetic of the front of the bag, which I think doesn't get talked about enough. I just think, yeah, just having stuff here, it's so difficult to nail that aesthetic with having things going on at the front. So anyway, I thought, okay, I want some kind of external access to get in. So I did these 2 hidden pockets down the sides here, right? So you can go in, and then there's a stitch line down the middle here. You can go in and put, you know, just some quick access if you want to pop anything that you need to access quickly, then you can just do that in here. That was the thought process. I tried some other designs. I can't remember exactly when we were doing the test sampling. It just didn't look cool. As I said, I think I tried like a secret horizontal zipper. Didn't look cool. Yeah, it's just I was trying different things, and this final sample was in some ways like around like 3 or 4 samples deep, where like we'd done the test samples with the stock fabrics. So like this was kind of like, can we try this? I kind of accepted like I'm gonna have to do another entire sample if I do decide to proceed with a V2. So anyway, 2 vertical pockets, yeah. Hidden stitch line down the middle here. So that's what I went for. Again, I love the vertical pocket in V1 from an aesthetic point of view, like massively an aesthetic point of view. And yeah, boy, is it hard to just nail that front compartment aesthetic. Like it's so hard. But anyway, that aside, let's go into the main compartment of the bag. Oh yeah, that's the other, just a side note. Because what I love about V1 is that you open the main zipper compartment, you open the laptop, you do the expansion zipper. With here, because now I've added this horizontal front pocket, I'm accidentally opening the front pocket instead of the main pocket because there's just so many zippers going on. It's hard to know which one's which. But anyway, that aside. So starting off with what were these 2 things I pulled out? What I pulled out was, and I'm just now trying to put them back in, these were internal compression straps. I've used internal compression straps on, you know, like suitcases. I see the benefit to having an internal compression strap, but like the way that I pack, and I'm gonna be launching packing cubes. So like when you have packing cubes and you have a few cubes on top of your main cube, do you need compression straps? Unless you need to access something on this side, even still, like it's just, anyway, it's just like, I just don't see the point of having them. So anyway, I made them detachable so you can sort of clip them on and off. But again, going back to like, is this necessary? Like the load lifters, it's like, I don't think it is. I don't think you need internal compression straps. I'm like, what actually is this achieving? Like, is it actually to compress it down, or is it to prevent things falling out? Because if it's to compress it down, how much compression are you achieving? Like it's yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, is this worth it? I don't think it is. And then in terms of the interior, the material here is a 180D UHM WPE material in grey. I don't love the color. I don't really love UHM WPE in total honesty. It's just, it's very like, I don't know, I don't like the aesthetic. I don't like how it looks. But anyway, that aside, yeah, grey material. This is the black UHM WPE stretch mesh. So it's the same design as version 1 in terms of clamshell design. Yeah, separation, suitcase vibe. So yeah, that's that. And then horizontal YKK stretch zippers internally. And then that's the main compartment. Moving on to the laptop compartment. I didn't want to do this. This was not my desire. But I made the zipper go all the way to the floor. Why did I do that? The reason why I did that was something to do with the balance of the bag. I wanted to have the side carry handles to like fill the remaining space. Imagine the zipper ended here. I wanted the side carry handles to like be flush against here. But my supplier was saying something to the effect of like the balance that that creates wouldn't work, right? We were getting into physics here. And I was like, and I mainly I'm a very aesthetic, like I'm thinking aesthetics, right? I'm trying to think aesthetics and balance out with physics. But anyway, it just, yeah, it wasn't able, that was what sort of ended up with side carry handles here, which I didn't even want anyway, but it was that battle of like, where can they go that would work and still create a balanced weighted bag where like there's not too much weight going in one direction. I don't really, it was getting very like, very sciencey. This whole sample's very sciencey. But yeah, so zippers go all the way down. I don't love that. One, because Dynapel's astronomically expensive and that's a lot more zipper. But yeah, I just don't think they need to go all the way down. Like I've never used V1 and thought, if only I could open this all the way down. Like I slide my laptop in, I use, and I've kept the same, you know, zippered pocket here, which I use. Also completely forgot to mention that I added a AirTag pocket in this laptop compartment pocket, which I would also look to add in version 2 if I do end up releasing that. I do like this edition. I suppose if I did do it all the way down, you could utilize a pocket here, but it's just, again, it's like for what? Like, it's like just the element of add, and then it's like, what are we even trying to, what's the final number that we're trying to reach here and why? So yeah, so laptop compartment, the actual design is the same as far as a tablet sleeve and a laptop sleeve. I use the same company that does this padding, the laptop, and slightly change the stitching design, which I don't love or hate. I mean, it's kind of, it's just different stitching. I don't love the material, and I don't love the tablet. I've never used the tablet compartment. I'd actually be keen, I don't even know if anyone's still watching at this point, but I'd actually be keen if you use a tablet compartment to let me know, because I don't use it. I put it there just because I guess people could use it, but yeah, I'm like, why? Anyway, I'm like, why do I need a tablet sleeve? So yeah, so that's the laptop compartment, and that is the V2 sample. I'm just thinking if I've not discussed anything. No, I think I have. I 1000% forgot. I've literally just been filming some B-roll to overlay the video, and I forgot that I never spoke about the actual expansion zipper. It's exactly the same as version 1. Nothing has changed. It's going to be difficult to do this with one hand, but yeah, literally exactly the same in terms of expansion. It just expands slightly more deeply purely because it's the depth has increased a tiny bit. But yeah, expansion zipper is still there. And yeah, back to the video. I'm not launching this. I'm not launching a V2 right now, obviously, because like this is so not it, so it's like a long way away. I think I thought, to give context as to like, well, then why did I say I'm working on a V2 and it'll be ready in a few months? I think delusionally, I sort of thought to myself, okay, I spent, you know, a year doing V1. I know exactly the changes I want to make. Therefore, I'm just going to share those changes and like present them, and then it's going to work. And that's just not how it goes. But like, as I was working with, and this was a different supplier, by the way, for this bag, as I was working with them, there was so much research I was doing, because it was mainly like, here's what I want to do, right? Here's the changes I want to make. And then as we were going into each change was like a massive discussion as to like, would you consider this? And I'm like, I don't want to consider that, but I've just found this. What about that? Could this work? And I was just doing so much research. I'm actually surprised that they were so patient, because I was like finding out so many different things and whatever. But yeah, like this is just so not it. One, from a cost perspective, the actual cost to use all these materials. So like on the topic of Dynapel, is so expensive, just a huge amount more than like any other YKK zipper that I was using. So if I were to create a version 2, what I've essentially realized now, number one, it's really going to be very, very similar to this. Then that raises the question of, okay, if it's going to be very, very similar to this, and the only thing I effectively wanted to address was long-term durability, which I have been addressing in terms of like the extra stitching going on structurally in this bag to make it more stronger, then what changes would I make that would be worth me launching a new version of the bag, right? So here's what I'm doing now. Right, here's the next steps. I've said to this supplier, right, I'm willing to give another sample a go. I don't want to use UHMWPE, and I can't use Dynapel all over the bag. That's like the whole price needs to come down, the weight needs to come down. So we basically have gone back to V1 at its core, right? And I've thought, okay, how could I improve this? If I had to improve it, how could I improve it? So I would put Dynapel zippers in the laptop compartment, right? I wouldn't put it all over the bag because of how expensive it is, but the laptop, the tech compartment, let's try get a bit of Dynapel going on in there, right? So that's what I've said. Let's get a Dynapel zipper in the laptop compartment. Let's explore, and I'm saying this loosely because I don't know how this will look and function, right? You heard me harping on about that front compartment aesthetic, right? I love this aesthetic. I also love the idea of having a vertical quick access, right? Boy, would that be nice if you could just horizontally just snip this open and just stash, you know, just a few small things. And then that quick access compartment at the top here would eat into this front compartment, right? So if you see here, this is the front pocket. Imagine there's a hidden zipper at the top here, which eats into here at the top. You just zip it open, put in what you need, and yeah, like, I think that would be so cool, but the aesthetic needs to work, and there's a high chance it might not. But like the way that this supplier did this hidden zipper pocket, right? I believe that it might be possible. So that's what I basically said to them is, let's see if we can get that going, because that would be a really cool addition if there could be a vertical quick access pocket here. But as I say then, like what I said to them is like, I don't want this to look weird, you know, like I like how flush and just sleek and cool this looks. So yeah, that horizontal quick access pocket would have to be secret, flush, and not detract from the aesthetic. So that's another thing.
The other thought I've had whilst I'm editing this video, I wanted to include, is instead of the horizontal quick access pocket being here, I would also explore potentially removing this zippered mesh pocket in the laptop compartment and then seeing if I can get like a horizontal quick access pocket in here that eats into the laptop compartment and then it doesn't obviously interfere with the laptop going in and out. I'd have to consider and explore how I could achieve that, but that's another idea around getting a horizontal quick access at the top. Just don't want it to eat into the main compartment because I like that to be able to be packed out with all your like clothes and everything else. But yeah, if I can figure out a way into the laptop compartment or to the front compartment here, I'm gonna check both of those out and see if it's possible. Back to the video.
Then I've said to the supplier for the new sample, let's get another water bottle pocket in there. I actually like that. I'm going to see if we can keep this hidden zipper pocket. It was more a balance of why didn't I put the secret hidden zipper pocket in this first sample. Well, it's mainly because, well, now I've got the horizontal pocket and then these two. I'm like, why do I need the hidden zipper one? Like, I've got a zippered mesh pocket in this top front compartment. I could theoretically put what I wanted to in that hidden zipper in there. It's all, I look at it and I gave this example on a Reddit comment. It's all like chess. It's like, it's all a balance. It's not, and I mean, I've definitely realized it with this. It's not like add. It's like when you add something, when you move your bishop there, then you need to also think like, where's the knight, where's the horse, etc. Right? So it's, I might not have said it like that, but everything's like a trade-off, right? You can't just add everything, because if you do, or like you try add too much, which is what I've done, you end up with a bag double the weight, and it's like, well, what is the point of all of this? It's like that example I gave in the previous video with the zippers, where I bought a camera setup, and then I was like, oh, this is gonna make the content cooler, and it's just like, it's just too much. Like, I've got to, you know, carry around this camera case, open up the camera case, take the lens off, turn it on, and it's such a faff. Now I've just gone back to basics and I'm filming on my iPhone, right? So I love this, like I love V1. So it's like, it has to be a meaningful upgrade if I'm gonna launch a V2. This was what I thought would be like, it wasn't even an upgrade. I thought, and this is a completely different bag, but I just thought with all the research, I genuinely thought UHMWPE, with how strong it is versus the GSM, I honestly thought like this is gonna be like revolutionary. Like, I was so like just the excitement of like, this bag is gonna absolutely blow everything, you know, just tear apart any bag that's ever existed, you know, whatever. And it's just not. It's heavier. I don't love the aesthetic. So yeah, I love this. And what actually is V1? If we get into like a very like, what is this? Because a lot of people obviously ask me where it's like, what's special about your bag? And I say, there's not that much special about it, to be honest. Like, it's not really, I haven't revolutionized anything. I've just made a very simplistic, minimalistic bag that's lightweight, that's priced very competitively, that does everything you'd want it to do in a bag. So actually, it's just like, oh, okay. And going back to the camera thing, which I fell into the trap of like, no, if only I had that lens, then my content would be cooler. Or if only I had this, whatever it might be, then it would be cooler. And it's like, actually, you kind of realize when you strip everything down, this is it. Like, if I'm going to change anything from V1, as I said, the Dynapel on the laptop compartment, if I can get a horizontal quick access compartment, I would also look to use slightly heavier denier materials. So like if I can get a 400D preferably recycled nylon as well. I'd like to use recycled materials if I can. Get a recycled nylon for the exterior, recycled nylon for the interior if possible, just to sort of elaborate on that. And this also ties to this first sample, is with these like less common popular materials, there's super high minimum order quantities for the individual materials. The supplier doesn't like have any stock of them or like have the relationships. Like it's just a lot more difficult to execute on a revolutionary bag with revolutionary materials when you're as small as me, right? Like if you're a massive company and you can place off the bat, you know, an order for thousands and thousands of units, or like thousands and thousands of yards and kilograms of each material, then you have a lot more flexibility. But because I'm just like, hey, like I'm super small, I'm trying to innovate, can we use this? But they're like, the minimum order quantity for that particular fabric is, I don't know, a stupid amount. And I'm like, oh, that's tough. Like I really want to use it, but then I can't commit to that many units off the bat. So I want to use recycled nylon. I want it to have the same aesthetic. I don't like the visible grid lines on bags, so I don't want it to look like that. But anyway, so I'm experimenting with slightly high denier, or we're researching now, because now this like arrived a few weeks ago. We're researching if there's some recycled nylons on the market with a similar aesthetic to this, but just slightly higher denier. And so we're doing that for internally, externally. Dynapel for the laptop compartment, horizontal front quick access compartment, second water bottle pocket. See if I can keep the hidden passport compartment as well. I would plan to keep it. And then potentially, and I'm saying this loosely, change the backpack padding. Like it has to make sense. I think this backpack padding is perfectly fine. If there is a lightweight, durable, affordable option that might make sense, I would consider that. And I've been doing some research, but it's just like EVA foam is like, it does the job perfectly well. It's like fine. It's fine, you know, and it's good. It's not just fine, it's good. Like I'm never feeling, if only this bag was more padded. I'm actually more feeling, if only it could look visually that it is more padded, just so people feel it's more protective, but it's perfectly fine. And then, oh yeah, then I'll change the sternum strap just so it's more secure. But I mean, other than that, oh yeah, and also add, sorry, this webbing here if I can get the aesthetic correct. And then I might keep the two D loops. I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's just funny that like I ended up, you know, with this first V2 sample with this, and it's so not what I want. And I suppose the lesson I would try to share, if you've taken anything from this, is like, and it applies, as I said, with the camera, but just with everything in life, where like we always think, oh, if we just add more or like buy more, then that will just fix everything, or that will just be the answer. And like oftentimes it's the complete opposite. It's actually like, what can I take away? What can I let go of? What can I strip down? What can I just simplify? And I think oh yeah, sorry, right, yeah, million places at once. I'd also look to keep this as well, this like toilet loop, if that's a phrase, if that's a term. But yeah, like if it doesn't make a meaningful change, like that's the balance I'm facing now, which is I've worked with my supplier structurally to improve the V1 bag in terms of durability. I'm actually going to post a video which I got sent, which like they stress tested it with 18 kilograms for like I think the whole day, with the new like extra box stitch on the straps and top carry handle, and it was perfectly fine. So like it's just a case of like, does this make sense? Like should I release a V2? Like if it has that horizontal quick access, the Dynapel zipper at the back, and it's a slightly higher denier, and the weight isn't, you know, I mean, I don't want this getting above a kilogram. I don't. Like if it does, I'm just like, what's the point? Like it doesn't need to be. This is perfectly fine. But anyway, yeah, so I don't want it to get above a kilogram, but then equally the changes have to make sense for me to actually release a V2, because I love V1 so much. That's where I'm at. I'm working on so many other products as well. That's also the interesting thing, is like the bag was my first product, but like I'm not trying to release a bunch of different bags. I'm trying to perfect the best setup for one bag travel. So not just the bag, everything that goes inside of the bag. So there's so many other products I'm working on, but like I kind of got so like, oh, I know what I need to change to make the bag perfect, and I tried to do that and I was so wrong, and I realized how perfect V1 was and is. So it has to make a lot of sense for me when I receive that second V2 sample, if I even do it, because right now we're just researching materials before we actually dive into making another sample. So it's about whether we can get it to the target weight of under 1 kilogram and my target price, which I understand after adding all of these and then, yeah, being told the price is literally absurdly higher than I thought it would be. I hope that was interesting. I think the biggest thing I would also just leave you with is there's so many other products I'm working on. There's so many other products I'm like so excited to launch that are genuinely like so good. Especially the clothing. Like, I don't know anyone releasing shorts, like these travel shorts. You can gym in, swim in. There's no polyester. Try to do me a favor. Try find a pair of swim shorts that aren't polyester. Like, I'm so not a fan of polyester, and I've actually now cracked these incredible shorts. The point I'm trying to sort of leave you with is I think this is such a good bag, this V1 bag. I tried to make all these changes thinking like this would be the best bag, and what I really realized is the initial V1 bag was absolutely, it was just an absolute home run. It's an incredible bag. I'm going to experiment making these small add-ons. If it makes sense, then I'll order a sample for it. And I'm going to be posting more raw updates like this, just talking about, especially because I'm working on so many products, talking about the products I'm working on, you know, making this behind the scenes and just like bringing you along in the journey. And I'd love to hear your feedback, thoughts. Is this video too long? I feel like it is, but yeah, just thank you so much for, I mean, if you made it all the way here, thank you so much for watching this video. I mean, we went on a journey there. But yeah, just thank you for like giving me the opportunity to do this, because I do care so much and I'm trying to release the best possible products I can. And just one thing I've forgotten to touch on, which is the balance of cost as well, right? Because though I don't think this bag is the right fit whatsoever, the cost is not the right fit whatsoever either. So it's not just the fact that this is 1.52 kilograms, this is 855. So it's not the fact that this is double the weight. The cost is astronomically higher, right? So then it becomes a balance of like, well, I think this bag's amazing. And it's at such a great price point where someone can get this bag and do anything they could with it as far as travel indefinitely, use it for everyday carry, do so much with it. Like, that is a massive factor. I'm trying to make the best possible products I can, but equally I'm trying to balance. Like, I'm not trying to make astronomically high products. I wouldn't expect someone to pay $400 for a backpack. Personally, I wouldn't. I don't expect that. I want to use the best possible materials I can to achieve a price point that is achievable for people to buy and use and enjoy and, you know, get the most of. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that so you can like understand where I'm coming from in terms of I'm trying to create the best possible products that are as lightweight as possible and as affordable as possible, and kind of marrying those three together. So thank you so much for supporting me, giving me so much feedback as well, because a lot of the feedback I received went into this bag, at least the ones that made sense to me, and I gave it a go, and there's a lot that wouldn't stay. I mean, this is less about micro details. The entire bag is just so not what I want. But anyway, just thank you so much. And yeah, more raw updates are going to be coming along the way. Business, product samples, and just, yeah, so much. So thank you so much. We'll speak soon. Take care, guys. All the best. Bye.